And good evening. Hello, all of you. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Michael Reads. And if this is your first time here, you are very welcome indeed. And if you've been joining me on this journey already, thank you for being here and for your continued support. I really appreciate it all. This channel exists for one simple reason, is to get myself and hopefully others back into the habit of reading. I mean, it's not just about skimming. It's not about sound bites, and it's not motivational clips taken way out of context, but it's real books, real ideas, and real conversations that challenge how we think, how we lead, and how we live. My aim isn't to teach, neither is it to preach. It's to read, reflect, and invite discussion. If something resonates, then great. And if you disagree, that's even better. Let's talk about it. Let's have discussions. And before we continue, um, if you do find value in this content, please like, share, or subscribe. It's completely free, but it helps the channel reach people who may genuinely need these ideas right now. I mean, just one click makes more difference than you might realize. So, the I just wanted to briefly sort of mention like why I feel reading matters. It's just that we live in a time where information is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in the palm of your hands. It's on billboards. It's on your TV screen. Yet it feels like wisdom is becoming increasingly rare. The internet gives us the answers instantly, but it rarely gives us understanding. We've got social media gurus that tell us what to think, what to buy, and who to become. And, it's usually done under 60 seconds. But reading is different. A book forces patience, it forces focus, it forces you to sit with an idea long enough to wrestle with it. Books don't chase your attention; they they require it. And in a world that profits from distraction, that alone there makes reading a powerful act. So, just with those few words, I'd like to do just a brief recap of chapter two that we did a couple of days ago. If you look in my back catalog, it's all laid out in a playlist for you so that it's easy for you to find. But chapter two was sources of Bushido. We explored how Bushido was not born from one single doctrine, uh, but it was shaped by multiple influences. Confucianism was one that we came across, which gave Bushido its moral structure and sense of duty. There's Buddhism, which introduced acceptance of death and inner calm. And there's Shinto, which grounded honor, loyalty, and reverence for tradition. I mean, together these sources formed a code that governed not just how a samurai fought, but it also governed how he lived. Bushido was never about convenience, it was more about character. So today we are moving into chapter three, which is rectitude, or in other words, justice. Uh, Rectitude is described as a power to decide upon a course of conduct in accordance with reason, and it's without wavering. In simple terms, it's knowing what is right and having the courage to act on it. Rectitude is the foundation of all other virtues in Bushido. Without it, courage becomes recklessness, loyalty becomes blind obedience, and honor becomes performance. So, this chapter, it does ask a difficult question. What do you do when doing the right thing costs you something? That's a good, honest question. So, with that, um, I will now go into the book. But what I'd like to do is just have a quick sip of a drink, and this is Bushido Chapter 3, Rectitude or Justice. So, rectitude or justice, the most cogent precept in the code of the samurai. Nothing is more loathsome to him than underhand dealings and crooked undertakings. The conception of rectitude may be erroneous, it may be narrow. A well-known Bushi defines it as a power of resolution. Rectitude is the power of deciding upon a certain course of conduct in accordance with reason, without wavering. To die when it is right to die, to strike when to strike is right. Another speaks of it in the following terms: rectitude is the bone that gives firmness and stature. As without bones, the head cannot rest on top of the spine, nor hands move, nor feet stand. So without rectitude, neither talent nor learning can make a human frame a samurai. With it, the lack of accomplishments is as nothing. Mencius calls benevolence man's mind, and rectitude or righteousness his path. How lamentable, he exclaims, is it to neglect the path and not pursue it, to lose the mind and not know to seek it again. When men's fowls and dogs are lost, they know to seek for them again, but they lose their mind and do not know to seek for it. How have we not here, as in a glassy darkly, a parable propounded 300 years later in another clime and by a greater teacher who called himself the way of the righteousness, through whom the lost could be found? But I stray from my point. Righteousness, according to Mencius, is a straight and narrow path which a man ought to take to regain the lost paradise. Even in the latter days of feudalism, when the long continuance of peace brought leisure into the life of the warrior class, and with its dissipations of all kinds and gentle accomplishments, the epithet Gishi was considered superior to any name that signified mastery of learning or art. The 47 faithfuls, of whom so much is made in our popular education, are known in common parlance as the 47 Gishi. In times when cunning artifice was liable to pass for military tact and downright falsehood for ruse de guerre, this mainly this manly virtue, frank and honest, was a jewel that shone the brightest and most highly praised. Rectitude is a twin brother to valor, another martial virtue. But before proceeding to speak of valor, let me linger a little while on what I may term a derivation from rectitude, which, at first deviating slightly from its original, became more and more removed from it until its meaning was perverted in the popular acceptance. I speak of giri, literally the right reason, but which came in time to mean a vague sense of duty which public opinion expected an incumbent to fulfill. In its original and unalloyed sense, it meant duty, pure and simple. Hence, we speak of the giri we owe to parents, to superiors, to inferiors, to society at large, and so forth. In these instances, giri is duty. For what else is duty than right reason demands and commands us to do? Should not right reason be our categorical imperative? Giri primarily meant no more than duty, and I dare say its etymology has derived from the fact that in our conduct, say to our parents, though love should be the only motive, lacking that, there must be some other authority to enforce filial piety, and they formulated this authority in Giri. Very rightly did they formulate this authority, Giri, since if love does not rush to deeds of virtue, recourse must be had to man's intellect, and his reason must be quickened to convince him of the necessity of acting aright. The same is true of any other moral obligation. The instant duty becomes onerous. Right reason steps in to prevent our shirking it. Giri, thus understood, is a severe taskmaster with a birch rod in his hand to make sluggards perform their part. It is a secondary power in ethics. As a motive, it is infinitely inferior to the Christian doctrine of love, which should be the law. I deem it a product of the conditions of an artificial society, of a society in which accident of birth and unmerited favor instituted class distinctions, in which the family was the social unit, in which seniority of age was of more account than superiority of talents, in which natural affections had often to succumb before arbitrary man-made customs. Because of this very artificial artificiality, Giri in time degenerated into a vague sense of propriety, called up to explain this and sanction that. As, for example, why a mother must, if need be, sacrifice all her other children in order to save the firstborn, or why a daughter must sell her chastity to get funds to pay for the father's dissipation, and the like. Starting as right reason, Giri has, in my opinion, often stooped to casu- casuistry. Casuistry. It has even degenerated into cowardly fear of censure. I might say of Giri what Scott wrote of patriotism, that as it is the fairest, so it is often the most suspicious mask of other feelings. Carried beyond or below right reason, Giri became a monstrous misnomer. It harbored under its wings every sort of sophistry and hypocrisy. It might easily have been turned into the nest of cowardice if Bushido had not a keen and correct sense of courage. And that brings an end to um, chapter 3. Now, what I hope to do in the near future is there are some words that are quite challenging in this book. More seasoned readers than me probably would not feel that any of these words are challenging, but everything takes time. It's just a matter of practice, of just keeping going, showing up, um, and just doing our best to just try to get through the pages, through the chapters, but build an understanding of it. So what I will try to do is create a sort of dictionary where at the end of each chapter, if there's any words that I myself find challenging, I will put in the community page where I will list the word and put down its meaning, so that if you are going through the video and you need to find out what the word is, I might even be pronouncing it incorrectly. You can go onto my community page and just have a look and see if I've put it in there, and see what it means. Um, so look out for that, please. If you could turn your notifications on, please. So as we come to close this chapter, I want to uh, bring what the chapter says into the world we're living in today. I just made a few rough notes. So, rectitude speaks directly to some of the biggest challenges that humans face right now. First, I think, is fear and uncertainty. I mean, rectitude, it demands clear decisions even when outcomes are unknown. Um, Loss of purpose, justice. Uh, it gives an internal compass when external validation disappears, like a lack of trust in leaders and institution. Rectitude reminds us that integrity begins with the individual and not the system. um, Distraction and lack of discipline. Knowing what is right, it means nothing if we lack the self control to act on it. Like paralysis when making decisions. Bushido is teaching us that hesitation in the face of moral clarity um, is its own failure. So rectitude isn't loud, it isn't popular, and it really goes viral, but it builds something far more valuable. Um, it builds a life that can stand up to pressure. So, with that, I'd like to say thank you for spending your time with me today. If this chapter made you think, if you agreed or disagreed, or if it challenged you in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But until next time, um, keep reading. You don't have to read a whole book in a day or in a month. Just little bit by little bit, and eventually you will get to the end of it. So keep reading, keep questioning, and keep showing up. And until then, I look forward to doing the next chapter. I will schedule it. So if you keep those notifications on. But until the next one, I look forward to seeing you then. Take care and goodbye.